It's time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We just got sued. Welcome to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast, episode 231. I'm the NFL Genius Team Walzak, and we got some very, very solid free agency conversation. In the upper left corner, we got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cuttrell.
I'm not really looking forward to the free agency talk. My team is just not moving in the right direction as far as like most recent news goes. But I will tell you what, I'm hype because March Madness it's right there. Like I can taste it at this point. I know we're about to do a little preview of the conference tournaments and that kind of stuff, but I'm excited for that part. But football, I can't get away from it fast enough.
My guy, I was waiting for it. You had your opportunity. You took your little shot, coffee and sports in the morning. You can take your shot right now and get it over with. You can get it over with.
Breaking news, everybody. Myles Garrett has not been traded to the Philadelphia Eagles.
There it is. In the upper right corner, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shawcross.
Myles Garrett, Mr. All I want to do is win unless somebody pays me more to lose. So he stayed in Cleveland. But good for him. It's a hell of a contract, but I'm sure we'll get into it. Free agency frenzy is it's been alive and well. I mean, it's been quick this year, so it's been fun. But I too, like Cottrell, and I'm ready for March Madness. I cannot wait for next weekend. Got the Players Championship this weekend. Augusta's less than a month away. Opening day's less than a month away. It's a great time of year,
bro. It's one of those things. Like you brought up the Myles Garrett thing, and I want to at least talk about that for a second. I'm telling you right now, and you might laugh at me, and it's fine. I sent you guys the meme already. The person that nailed this perfectly was Dom in Fast and the Furious 5. So Tyrese was like, this is crazy. You guys want to break into a police building? People trying to break out of there. You guys want to break in? I am not about this. I am out. And this seems personal. And business isn't personal. And then Dom goes, so what we're talking about is $100 million. And Tyrese responds, he goes, $100 million? You say $100 million? Oh, man, I think you have to be mistaken. But that's what it feels like, Myles Garrett going back to the Cleveland Browns. $100 million? Yeah. Listen, you got to be mistaken. I'm here. I'm here to stay. Cleveland! He did the land screaming afterwards, too. He did all of it.
Not wrong.
For sure. And I mean, I think the one thing about that, though, is that the entire time, I knew it wouldn't happen. Like a trade wouldn't happen, especially to a contender. Because he had no leverage. It's one thing if he had 1 year left on his deal. He was like, all right, I'll sit out like until you guys trade me. And then, obviously Cleveland will recoup some money, but then the following year he'd leave for nothing. With 2 years left, I mean, you're kind of in this situation where you're in the prime of your career. You have a teammate that you saw what it looks like after you sit out for a season, multiple games, and obviously he got the payday, but if he didn't and he looked like how he's been playing on the field, he would have no money coming his way. So he got to see all of that firsthand. This was the move to make. You have to get your money while you can, strike while the iron is hot. And if you're not happy in 2 years, then you go request the trade, and then you actually have a leg to stand on. You're out of the quote unquote prime of your career at that point. You're over the hill of 30. And you could be a little bit more firm in the aspect of wanting to trade. So I thought this was always the move, unless there was an offer that completely blew your socks away. But for Myles Garrett, I mean, you get your money, and now you got to backtrack everything you've been saying since the week of the Super Bowl.
I will say this, right? It's an excellent troll move too. to re-sign him. Do you know where I'm going with when I say that?
I don't know.
Because the Bengals have basically told Jamar Chase, you are going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. So you just raised that price to $41 million.
For sure. And what you also did was let them know that, hey, Trey Hendrickson, you wanted to get paid. And now he's looking at it like, well, last season I had, in terms of sack numbers, I was up there with Myles Garrett. So what are we looking at price-wise? Like, I should be getting like 33, 34, 35. And they're like, yeah, we're not paying that for you, buddy. You might as well go ahead and see what you can get. So I agree. That's definitely a move that set them back a ton.
Now, we do not have a whole we don't have a whole show where we can do the whole free agency. We can't do that. Like, it's one of those things where we have a lot to go over, so we can only mention some of the big things. Sideline to Sideline will be back next week to break down full NFL free agency. And if you need NFL talk today, tomorrow, you're going to listen to Coffee and Sports in the morning and our everyday shows. But we will be breaking down some of the biggest free agent moves this offseason. And one of those happens to be he's on the move. He's on the move. It looks like Danger Russ is going to be a Cleveland Brown. That's a huge move, right? Super Bowl. I'm kidding. Sam Darnold signed a 3-year, $100 million contract with the Seattle Seahawks. It looks like Aaron Rodgers is about to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields signs a 2-year, $40 million contract with the New York Jets. Which quarterback move do you think will have the biggest impact? I'll start with you, Shao, and then we'll go to Control.
That's tough. I think with what Seattle's done, I don't like Darnold's situation. You forgot to mention Geno going to the Raiders. I don't think that's it. Man, I'm almost going to by default going to pick Justin Fields. I think they gave him a 2-year deal. They gave him a decent amount of guaranteed money, but I think I don't want to say he's on his last chance, but he's going to go to a team that, I think gives him a pretty good situation to succeed in. And I think he has to. I think he's got to have a really good year. Hopefully the reconnecting with Garrett Wilson will obviously help. Breece Hall, that defense. He has to be somewhat successful there, because if not, then I don't know where he goes from there, other than being probably a backup, which is crazy for a guy that all three of us were incredibly high on. We all thought San Francisco should have took him, instead of the Trey Lance situation. I'm going to go there. I think Russ. I guess you could say Russ brings stability to Cleveland, but I mean, I think with what's going on with Deshaun Watson, if they can't move that contract, it's still probably a placeholder type situation, which is crazy. And
you don't like Danger Russ in Cleveland, Control?
No.
No, but like the reason I didn't mention Geno, Bill, is I was going to talk about that trade, but I was kind of getting into free agent signings. That's why I said the Rodgers, Sam Darnold, and Justin Fields. Which one would be the biggest impact to their team? Like, I'll get into the trade for Geno Smith in a minute. Like, I understand what Pete Carroll's doing, and I'll give you my points on what the Vegas Raiders are doing.
It's I think the fascinating one would be Rodgers to Pittsburgh if he really has anything left. You're going to have DK Metcalf on one side and the Enigma on the other side, depending on what he wants to do. The memes of all them fighting at practice already, are all over Twitter.
Oh, George ain't fighting with DK, bro.
Well, I would hope not, but
no, that's 2-on-2. They'd be fighting somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, Pickens is the most realistic person as we've found out so far. But I would think on paper that's the splash one. That's the one you look at. Okay, he has 2 legitimate ones, 1As, however you want to call them. Could with a really good defense that just got better. Got Got another really good cornerback in Slay today. Does that make them contenders at least in their division and get them kind of off the 500, schneid that they've been on for the last couple of years? So I don't know. I like I said, I default to. I think I have more confidence in Justin than I do anybody else. I'll put it that way.
Cottrell, where you at?
I'm gonna roll with Justin Fields going to the Jets, and I think the biggest thing is a point that Bill kind of mentioned. This is legit put up or shut up time for Justin Fields, and I know as a whole we haven't given up on him like on this show. We saw him go 4-2 last year, and if I'm being honest, I hated that the Steelers benched him for Russ. After seeing how the offense looked those first few weeks, I kind of understood a little bit more as far as like moving the ball down the field and just taking those shots. But after Russ started struggling, I mean, he started off 5-1 and then lost the last 5 games, or lost the last 4 games of the season there. So I think that is something where Justin looked at it like, hey, Russ is losing all these games and you guys didn't even give me a shot to get back in there. While the Jets are taking him in, they're giving him $20 million a year. And he really has nobody behind him. I mean, Tyrod Taylor's still going to be there, but there's really nobody that's pushing that job from him. I don't expect the Jets to take a quarterback early in the draft, so it's really going to be his job. And also with getting Aaron Rodgers off the books, the Jets are going to have more money to spend. I thought they did a good job of rebuilding their offensive line last year, and I expect them to keep bolstering that offensive line this year with probably taking a tackle or a guard within the first or second round of the draft. And then obviously you guys already mentioned the connection with Garrett Wilson. I think it's important to have that number one connection, a guy that you can trust, not just on the field, but a guy in the locker room, a guy that makes you feel comfortable, like that understands what you want to do, like understands how you like to play the game. Not to mention they also have Jeremy Ruckert at tight end as well that played at Ohio State too. So I think it's a perfect situation for him. And you have a guy in Aaron Glenn who's already trying to change the culture with the Jets. Like he's trying to make it about bring that culture from Detroit, bring it over there. And I think Justin Fields will fall right in line with that. And, as long as he can figure out ways to cut down on the fumbles specifically, I think he's going to have the opportunity to have a lot of success with New York.
I don't think that Justin Fields has ever had a real opportunity. And I say that he was drafted for Chicago. I think a lot of quarterbacks don't get real opportunities in the NFL until they make their first decision of where they're going to play. This is all on Justin, right? It's all on Justin. It's put up or shut up. And if he fails in this situation, he can only blame himself because he is the one that made the decision to go to New York. Now, do I believe in the situation that he's walking into? Absolutely. I love the culture shift that's going on in New York. Hey, we'll eat $47 million a day cap money. We ain't dealing with Aaron Rodgers no more. We'll eat it. It's fine. Bring in Justin Fields. We'll pay him $20 million. We're going to Garrett Wilson. Do not be surprised if Chris Olave gets traded to New York Jets. I'm telling you, I could see it. I don't want to just glaze over this and just say Justin Fields, though. Like, I think the answer is Justin Fields, but I love what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. People are, like, giving them, like, a negative great grade in free agency. I love the culture that they're bringing in. Anybody want to help me out who the offensive coordinator is for the Seattle Seahawks? Oh, it's Clint Kubiak. Where did Clint Kubiak come from? San Fran. Who was in San Fran before he was in Minnesota? Sam Darnold. Marry the coach to the quarterback. I get it. They're trying to build that team off of running the football, game managing the pass game, and building their defense. Just look at their free agent signings. I think as a whole, Seattle is building their culture correct. The Jets are building their culture correct. I think if Aaron Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh, it's going to be another circus. It'll be another circus. You got Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens in one building. Are you out of your friggin' mind? You think that's going to work? I don't either, and I don't think Mike Tomlin would stand for that. That's why I was kind of surprised to even hear that they would be in the conversation for him. Like Aaron Rodgers seems like a guy that, I mean, based on all accounts, is the opposite of what Mike Tomlin will want in a quarterback. Like the receiver, I understand. He's always had the crazy receivers. He had the Antonio Browns. He's had obviously Pickens now. And just in general, that receiver room in Pittsburgh is always dysfunctional as far as like their mental.
So DK really fits right into that. So at least that move I can understand. But bringing in Aaron Rodgers, like that wouldn't make a ton of sense to me because Mike Tomlin typically is all about culture guys in every position outside of the receiver room.
By the way, yes, I did pick the Jets as Super Bowl champions last year, and you picked the 49ers, and we were in the same boat. FYI. Hey, listen, man, I can't get them all right. I get them wrong sometimes. It's going to happen. So do you.
Are we going to talk about the 49ers?
We don't need to. What do we need to talk about the 49ers? They lost everyone. They didn't sign anyone.
I say the fact that everyone is jumping ship.
I mean, it's happening in Philadelphia too, but Philadelphia at least
not to that extent.
Winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say it's happening in Philadelphia in a different way. When you outperform the contract that you're playing on, you're going to get paid by somebody else. So that happens with the 49ers. And to be fair, well, I kind of like what the 49ers are doing. Obviously not as a win now move like next season, but you had to turn that around because you're paying Deebo Samuel $30 million to not be a receiver 1 or a receiver 2. You were paying Dre Greenlaw where you still have a ton of question marks. Obviously, Ayuk is a name that's talking about getting traded. He's coming off a torn ACL. You're paying him $30 million. So, I mean, I think you do have to find a way to move some money around. And ultimately, you got to figure out the quarterback position. But I think moving forward, San Francisco is doing a good job of giving themselves a ton of money after they figure out what they're doing at quarterback. So I think 2025 form is going to be a throwaway, but I think they're saying, hey, we want to make sure that we can open back up our window because if we're being honest with ourselves, the 49ers were in this purgatory situation with what they put around Brock Purdy.
Well, you know, it's a funny thing that you said about that I disagree with, right? I don't think the 49ers are throwing away this season, and I'll tell you why. I think they have one of the best free agent signings in this offseason, and I don't think it's very close. I think that they've brought in someone that is going to absolutely change the culture of the 49ers. Oh, by the way, he was in the building prior. It's Robert Saleh. I don't think that you need players like Hufanga or Greenlaw or anyone on that defense. I think that when you look at it, that was a Robert Saleh built defense. He's made decent players good. Look what Vic Fangio did with the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Bond was a special teams player, edge rusher, became an all-pro middle linebacker. Teams make players better. They're all talented. They're in the NFL. I think a defensive coordinator might be more important than any specific defensive player.
I get what you're saying there. When I say throwaway, I mean, you know, Alex brings up they're still the betting favorites in the West, which is fine. I mean, you could win the West. I'm saying for the last 4 or 5 years, we talked about the 49ers in the conversation of teams that can win a Super Bowl. When I say throwaway, I'm saying that this upcoming year with what they've done, they are, even if they make the playoffs, they are not going to be in a position to win a Super Bowl. I think that's what they're banking on. They're reopening their Super Bowl window in the future. Right now, it is slammed shut. I don't care if they win the West. I don't care if they make the playoffs. They can go 10-7, 11-6, whatever the case may be. They are not in a position to beat the top teams in the NFC right now with how the roster is constructed.
I'm very interested to see how this offseason continues. The Philadelphia Eagles have lost a lot of players. We'll see how they respond to that. You look at a situation like, look, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm super scared. You got teams in your own division making moves. The Dallas Cowboys got Javonte Williams and a long snapper to a 3-year deal. I mean, they're out there making moves daily. You guys aren't worried about that? No. Okay. Maybe I'd
be more worried about Washington. Dallas lost on a good player today.
Rico Dowdle?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Lawrence is gone. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, the Giants are still lost. They're still stuck in, you know, whatever hellish land they're in. But
I'm glad you brought that up, Bill. How in the hell do you get away with paying Darius Slayton 3 years, $38 million?
Why is it the same contract?
And you don't
the same contract.
Like, how do you get away with that? Like, if I'm Mara, like I go into Joe's office and I'm like, you're fired, like immediately. Like, you take off free agency.
Same contract.
Like
same contract.
I just don't. And I'm not saying the Giants would have been world beaters with Saquon. Like, I think they probably would have went 5-12 last year, maybe 6-11 if Saquon stayed healthy the whole year. But how do you sign Darius Slayton to the contract you absolutely dug in, refused to sign Saquon to?
He signed a 3-year contract that was $38 million a year ago. Saquon Barkley.
I don't get it.
Saquon Barkley signed a 3-year, $38 million contract. The Giants are like, oh, no, that's too much. And then they signed Darius Slayton to a 3-year, hold on, wait up, I got to figure out the numbers, $38 million contract. Yo, if you're a Giants fan right now, I sat right next to one for 18 holes today. I sat right next to him, and I was just like, my man, I'm just trying to, can we understand this? If we paid $38 to play here at Skipback and $38 to play at Augusta, where are you playing? Saquon Barkley was there for the same price. I love the NFC East. I got to give the Commanders credit, though. I like the moves. Deebo Samuel. Obviously, bringing in protection for their quarterback makes a lot of sense. I think that their trade for Laramie Tunsil is a good trade for the Commanders. I think they're making a lot of smart moves, and I hate giving them credit. I do, but
I would just love to see Dallas just absolutely be the default third best team in the division, because their fans won't be able to handle that.
You know what the best part about you is, Shal? Sally asked me a question. I'm going to share it on air, and it's hilarious. The hilarious question. I didn't think twice about it, but it was a hilarious question. He goes, now that the Eagles have 2 Super Bowls, would you sign up for the Eagles don't win another Super Bowl if it guarantees that the Cowboys never win another Super Bowl? I'm like, no. He's like, I would think about it. Like, because like he hates Dallas so much that he asked the question, like, well, now that they won the last 2 Super Bowls, would you sign up with the Eagles not winning a Super Bowl if the Cowboys never won another Super Bowl? And I'm like, no. But I thought that was really funny. That's true hate. Cooper Kupp was released by the Rams. They signed Devontae Adams. John Suggs is in here asking Cooper Kupp's next team best fits. I don't want to get into that. I don't care about that. I think Cooper Kupp's washed. I think there's a reason that he was cut. I think he's completely washed. There's nobody in the trade market.
I don't think.
I don't think he's washed. I mean, that was a monetary thing. They just didn't want to pay him.
I think he was.
They paid Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams is better than Cooper Kupp right now.
I agree.
I'm saying I think Kupp, if you can get
got traded for something.
And not with this current contract. I'm saying I think if you can get Cooper Kupp at the right price, he's going to be a plus for your team. Yep. At the number that he was at, though, you can't pay Cooper Kupp like a 1-2-ish receiver and expect him to be like your receiver 3. Like I'm saying, I think on the right team, and I don't have one that comes to mind, but I think he can still be productive in the league.
I did ask this question on Coffee and Sports, and I want to see if I'm wrong. I know Control will always find a way to say I'm wrong, so I'm going to ask the same question. He will. He'll always find a way. I'm telling you right now, he is absolutely like kryptonite to my Superman.
What you know what I said on Coffee and Sports, Gene? You're the Ned Flanders to my Homer.
And I'm perfectly fine with it. I actually like that. That comparison's perfect for me. Like Ned Flanders was a better guy, more intelligent. I'm good with that. But
bro, don't ever be accepting of being Ned Flanders. Dude.
No. It's a joke. Why would you accept being Homer Simpson?
That's not the point. I'm not saying you need to aspire to be Homer, but
all right. But listen, I want to ask this question. The 49ers, we talked about them earlier a little bit, and Brock Purdy you're going to talk about the realm of how much his contract's going to be. Is it going to be $50 million? Is it going to be $60 million? Like, what's Brock Purdy going to get paid on this open market? Like, remember, Jordan Love got mid-50s per year. Tua got mid-50s per year. Trevor Lawrence got mid-50s per year. So, like, I don't know if I'm Brock Purdy's agent if I'm settling for less than $50 million after all those players just got paid mid-50s per year, right? I want to ask this question because I really couldn't think of one. And we got a lot of people listening, and I appreciate y'all in the chat, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're at, YouTube. I want to ask this. When has a quarterback like been in a contract negotiation with a team? It was like, and the team's like, we're not paying you that much. We're not giving you $50 million. We're not giving you 55. We're not giving you 45. We're not giving you a record-breaking contract. And that quarterback went on the open market and got that money. When was the last time that's happened? I don't know. I'm not trying to be like, I don't remember ever it happening. Can you give me a time where it happened?
I mean, big money. The last time it probably worked out for the best would be like the last big one would probably have to be Drew Brees leaving the Chargers, going to the Saints. And that was even different because he was coming off.
They already drafted his replacement.
Well, that they were concerned about his.
No, but he was still the starter though.
I know, but they drafted Phil Rivers as the replacement 2 years prior.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, he hit the open market, went to the Saints. The only other one that
don't count. This one don't count.
The only other one that I could think of in like recent memory would be Kirk Cousins that John Suggs just said.
Okay,
leaving Washington and going to Minnesota.
Kirk Cousins, I guess, makes sense. What's up, Tiff? How you feeling? Kirk Cousins, I guess, makes sense, but was it they didn't want to sign him to a record-breaking contract? Was the argument negotiation over money? I guess it was. Appreciate you, Tiff.
But I mean, those are the only two that I could even think remotely close that have had success moving.
So let him test the free agent market. Who's going to sign him? But see, it's funny. You put Peyton to the Colts to the Broncos. That's not accurate. The Colts got rid of Peyton Manning. They did. Sure. They did. They had the first pick. They had generational Andrew Luck coming out.
Yep. They said your neck's messed up. We got Andrew Luck right here falling in our lap. Yeah.
Hit the road.
Hit the road, Jack.
Got to take him. I mean, I've said this on other shows. I don't think Purdy has the exact amount of leverage that he thinks he has, and I think this conversation is part of my point. I don't think he goes on the market and gets 50 a year, and I think some of those names, Gene, you mentioned Tua and people like that. I think they're kind of cautionary tales. And again, you realistically have to look at what he's played with around him the last couple of years. So, yeah, if the Giants want to offer him, if they want to back up the Brinks truck and be like, he's our guy, we're going to build around him for $50 million a year, what is he going to?
I would love that. That would be amazing.
That's what I'm saying. And again, it's part of it's not fair to him, but at the same time, like, it matters. Like, you're not going to go to New York and have, Christian McCaffrey, 2 number ones, debatably the best tight end in the game, and a stacked offensive line with a great defense on the sideline waiting for you to get done scoring. He's not going to get that anywhere else. And I think San Francisco knows that. And I think the quarterback market in general is insanity right now. If I'm a good team and I think he can make us better, get us over the hump, and that's because of the way the rest of the roster that I constructed is really good, like a San Francisco or a team, something similar to that. I'm not paying the kid more than $35 million a year. I'm not.
So, Bill, my question to you would be, so I talked about how I felt like this was a throwaway year for the 49ers. You say Brock doesn't have the leverage. My argument against it would be, if Brock's not your starting quarterback next year, you're not making the playoffs. I think, can we agree with that? Like, they don't have a backup quarterback right now on the roster. I think obviously it would depend on who they brought in to be that guy. Josh Dobbs already signed a deal. He's leaving out of town. So there's really no viable backup option at the time. And obviously the market is just getting drier by the day. So are you fine if you're a 49ers in that front office? Are you fine with essentially going into the season saying, if Brock says he's holding out and he's not playing until he gets a new contract, are you all right with just going in with whoever you have at quarterback at this point and going through a full season with that?
I'll be honest. I think with what they've already lost, I don't think they're the best team in the division anymore.
The Rams are the best team in that division. I don't care.
I agree. If I'm betting, I'm betting on the Rams to win that division next year.
Yeah, they got Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. They got the best defensive line in football right now. There's no doubt in my mind. After Puna Ford went there, I'm serious. Jarrett Verse,
I agree with you.
Loaded.
I don't think the 49ers make the playoffs one way or the other. I really don't. And then you get into the conversation. If we're completely rebuilding, C-Mac's not staying there for the last year.
Nope.
He's going to get traded. And then you already know things with Ayuk and everything are already frosty at best anyway, even though he got paid. And he's coming off an injury. So like that. So then what? He's going to be left there standing there with what? Him and George Kittle? Like, again, I don't think he's in the position that he thinks he's in. I don't. I think it's fool's gold. And I hate this. I don't hate to say it, but I agree with Gene. I think you let him hit the free market. And I don't think there's going to be the phone ringing off the hook with $50-$55 million offers. I don't think there is. I think he gets looked at. And like I said, I think he's going to get put into, and I think if Miami could take it back, I don't think Miami would pay Tua again. Like, I think he gets put in that group. Like, you could surround him with all these great people and his numbers will look good. But is he a franchise defining quarterback? I don't think he is. I don't.
I think that the 49ers would be smart to figure out what the market would be and tell him you're not paying him. Now, if I'm Brock Purdy's agent, there's zero chance I'm playing this year on my current contract. None. Yep. You got me for $850,000 last year. I'm good, bro. The last pick of the draft gets paid nothing. They've been riding your coattails. You need to get paid this offseason, whether it's by San Fran or somebody else. And you're going to. He's going to get paid. I don't think it's going to be 53 or 55, but he's going to get paid. Let me take it a step further. We have to move, right? We can't do a whole NFL show. But I told a million people to tune in just for this part. Everyone's asked me all day, all week, all month, CJ Brancato, this guy when Gotham with, his name's Dave. I wasn't trying to put him out there, but Dave, I've got a message from my Uncle Mike. The CJ Gardner-Johnson thing. I got to talk about it. The trade that happened, CJ Gardner-Johnson from Philadelphia to Houston. The Eagles got Kenyon Green back, former first-round guard, which to me signals they don't know if they're going to get Mekhi Becton back, and they want offensive line depth. That's just what it signals to me. I want to give my take on it, and then you guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I hate losing him, right? Winning follows CJ Gardner-Johnson. It has for years, but there's no surprise this man doesn't stay places long. I'm going to take you back to New Orleans. Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in football. CJ Gardner-Johnson got him to punch him in the face in practice because he's that intense. He got him to swing on him in practice. Came to Philadelphia. Eagles went to the Super Bowl. A lot of clamorings about him as a teammate, issues in the locker room. They didn't re-sign him. He went over to Detroit. Detroit goes to the NFC Championship game. Why didn't they re-sign him? That's kind of odd. Why don't you go back to Detroit? Nope. Signed back with Philadelphia. They win the Super Bowl with him. His attitude is incredible on the football field. I love his passion. Love it. But they trade him. Now, one can argue it's a cap casualty. And I get it. It can be a cap casualty. The Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of players they got to sign. Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith are top of that list as far as defensive players that are going to get signed to extensions next year. They have to clear cap to do that. Howie Roseman has said that. But did I think CJ Gardner-Johnson would be a cap casualty? I did not. And I think part of the reason, and I think Lane Johnson, so let me just put this out there. Darius Slay this past season was a team captain. When CJ Gardner-Johnson roasted Slay on Twitter after Slay went on his little media tour, I think that ruffled some feathers inside the Eagles locker room. And what I think made it even worse or made it even more obvious to me was the moment after the trade was announced. I'm telling you, you can time up the minutes from when the trade is announced on Twitter to when Lane Johnson put Howie's season eyes. It tells me that a couple people in the Eagles locker room didn't want CJ Gardner-Johnson there. I have to think in my mind that Jason Kelsey's still friends with people in that locker room. We forget that the shirt that CJ Gardner-Johnson wore to the Eagles parade about Taylor Swift. Forget the comments he said to Travis Kelsey in the Super Bowl. I think they matter. Some people might think I'm nuts for saying that, but you should stay with that thick to Travis Kelce. I think a lot of that stuff matters more than we actually know. My take on it's simple. I hate losing CJ Gardner-Johnson. Hate it. Because I think his attitude brings something to our defense. But I understand it, and I'll understand it a lot more if they get Justin Simmons assigned there. Your thoughts?
I agree with everything you said, except, well, I'll put it this way. I'm not going to say that you're wrong about the Kelce stuff. I hope you're not right, though, in that, listen, Jason Kelce will be a legend. I don't know if that's even a strong enough word for what he is in this city until the day he dies. He shouldn't be influencing what happens with roster moves, though. So I hope you're wrong on that aspect of it. The Taylor Swift thing I think is funny. I do agree with you. I think posting the girlfriend thing that probably ruffled feathers. I think it has more to do with Slay, and I'll say that I've never heard anybody on that team say a bad word about him, and how respected he is, how accountable he is, especially the first year and a half he was here, where a lot of people felt like he didn't play up to expectations after we got him. On Twitter after every game saying I wasn't good enough. I think he is highly, highly respected in that locker room. I agree with you, the Lane thing. That would be the craziest coincidence ever if it's not about that. So I do agree with you on that one. Lane, and the reason I even agree with you more, Lane's not a very outspoken guy. So the fact that he tweeted that, to me, kind of backing up Gene's point, I think a lot of people felt very strongly one way about him in the locker room. And it does suck because, again, like Gene said, between the lines, I'd go to war with that guy. I would want him on my side. So it's tough, but it's a business, and it's a business about relationships too. If we've seen it before. We've seen head scratching trades before. A lot of stuff doesn't come out or it comes out way down the road. It matters how you act in the locker room. It matters how you talk to your teammates. It matters, fortunately, it matters what you tweet and what you do. And for a team that's very veteran led and very close knit, you have a lot of guys on that team that have been there for a long time that have played together. If you're going to be a guy that's kind of come in and make noise and not fit in, to Gene's point, you're probably going to ruffle some feathers. So it sucks.
Well, I just want to point out Lane Johnson's Twitter. He didn't tweet for 8 days prior. And the last thing he tweeted was well-deserved Saquon, retweeting the Saquon extension. And then he tweeted O-line day at the Combine.
Yeah.
Then he appreciated Jason Peters for a career that, for all you taught me, big man. And then Howie's season comes out 3 minutes after the trade was announced.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence, folks.
No, it's not a coincidence.
He's a very, when he talks, he means it, and it matters. And because if not, he won't say it. So I mean, to Gene's point, that says all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys through text that I thought that it was a move that surprised me in the sense of, I think, as good as I think Justin Simmons is and as good as I think he can be, it reminds me of when you guys brought in Kevin Byard. Obviously, it didn't work out. And then, you bring back in Chauncey because he knows the scheme. Obviously, he knows the guys in the locker room, things like that. And he's a good player. But to me, I think Slay's comment, you talk about him going on the media tour. I think what he said was kind of telling. He talked about all the names. He dropped all the names, Reed and Mitchell and DeJean. Like, he dropped all those names. And this is still CJ on the roster. And he said they need to bring in a vet into that room. And that's when CJ goes crazy on Twitter about, no, I think you need to believe in the young guys, like all this stuff. But maybe that was part of what they told Slay when they said, hey, we got to give you your walking papers. Maybe they said, hey, we would like to bring you back if we can do it at the right price. But, we're thinking that we want to build through the draft, of course. And we also want to bring in another vet. So like maybe he was just, spewing out what was already told to him anyway. I'm 100% a believer that I don't think these things happen by coincidence or happenstance. So 100%, I agree with you guys that I think it's a bad move in the sense of on the field play, because I do like CJ's game and I think he benefits you a lot. However, at the same time, I think when you say the things you do off the field, when you say the things you do on social media, when you go at, either current teammates or former teammates, I think that makes you, I hate to say it, but like a cancer to deal with in the locker room. Like as much as those guys went to war with CJ, at the same time, Monday through Saturday, they were probably like, yo, I want to rip his fucking head off. Like in practice, like Lane Johnson was like, can you please call a counter play so we can get CJ in the box and I could just run right through him? Like those things probably happen at practice behind the scenes that we don't know about. And that guys like a Lane Johnson or just the vets on that offensive side of the ball won't talk about, because that's just not who they are. So I think the conversations were had behind closed doors, and how everything happened between Slay, Lane's tweet, and just really the sour grapes that CJ had. I think it was a move that a lot of people in the locker room are probably pretty much backing at this point.
100%. We got to move on. There's a lot of NFL talk. We'll talk more of it. Coffee and sports, sideline to sideline. Next week, we'll have a little bit of conversation. But we got to move on. We got an MLB second baseman's list. We're going to go through that. Then we got our trivia question for this week.
Should make up time in trivia tonight. I think I think it'll be a fun one, but I think you guys will barrel through it. So,
okay.
Little
foreshadowing baseball question.
If
not
you
a
guys
baseball
don't
question.
Mind,
that was a good one. I see what you did there.
If anybody's in the chat, you guys can just tag followers, share out, tag, highlight, please. I'd appreciate it. It'd be very, very nice of you. And we'll be talking about the Wire2Wire bracket pool. That's going to be the biggest bracket pool that Wire2Wire's ever hosted. We're hoping for having 120, 100. At minimum, 100 people have to be in this. So we're rolling. We're ready. Can I count on you to get a bracket? Thank you. All right, let's get into our second baseman's list.
All right, as always, we got the 6 through 10 here first. First things to stand out to you guys. Anything you want to point out? What's going through your minds here?
Nothing stands out. The only thing that stands out is Luis Garcia looks a little high to me, but it's a projection. I get it. He's young. He's up and coming. Shally likes the young and up and coming guy. That's what stands out to me there.
I'm shocked you guys both have Nico 10.
I'm shocked that you either don't have him in your top 10 or you have him in your top 5. I think his range is 7 through 10.
I think for me, the shocking thing is that one, Bill, you didn't have Jackson Holiday at all. Like you're not expecting him to make that jump, and I get it. He didn't have the greatest rookie year, but not expecting him to take like that leap at all there. And then neither of you having Matt McClain. I was very shocked to see that, because based on how he looked in 2023, and then I know he obviously missed all of last season, well, most of last season because of the injury that he had, but him having Tito there and being in that lineup with Ellie and all those young guys, like I was surprised to not see you guys have Matt in the top 10.
I can't project him there because I don't know if he's going to start the season, and I just don't know where he's going to be at coming back from his injury.
That's my biggest thing. If you had a crystal ball and you're like, hey, Shally, he starts 145 games this year, then he's on my list. I just don't know if we're getting that. And I think he's bunched into this 7 to 12 group. He's right around there for me. I think a lot of these guys are interchangeable, if I'm being honest.
Bro, can I ask you a question? And just, I guess I'll find out. You asked Nico Horner 10. I'm guessing he's in your top 5.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you love about him so much that like doesn't? So like maybe it's just maybe I'm missing something. I always like to ask you that question, but like he's got no power.
I mean,
wait. If he's in the top 5, we're gonna go over him.
Okay, cool. Let's hear it when he gets in the top 5 then.
I'm just saying.
That's fair. Let's get this
fair.
top 5.
It's fine.
All right, so we'll go number 5
wow.
here.
4.
I'm the highest on.
I'll explain this in a second.
I'm the highest on Andres Jimenez here. We got the trade from the Guardians over to the Blue Jays here. And reason why I'm as high as I am on him is because I think he is either the best, second best, third best defensive player in all of baseball, not just by position. He's a guy that can change the game defensively. And I know last year his offensive numbers were down with that Guardians lineup. I think the numbers are going to get back there. I saw he was an all-star 2 years ago, and I saw the potential that he had. He is still young, and I do think the change of scenery will do him right. So obviously I'm expecting he's a guy that's going to be up for potentially a platinum gold glove at the end of the year every single season as long as he stays healthy. And I think if he can bring the bat back, I think he's going to be a top 5 second baseman in the league this year.
Okay. So before I get into this, Nico was originally 5. I missed the news somehow that Altuve was going to left field, so I had to take Altuve out. I totally forgot about Alex Bregman going to Boston. He's going to play second now. So in reality, if this was correct, he would probably be 5 on my list. But I'll get into him in a second. Jazz Chisholm, New York Yankees, kind of really seemed to find his spirit last year when he got traded late in the season. Kind of has that chip back on his shoulder like he did when he first broke in the league. He seems very enthusiastic to play again, playing in a small ballpark like we've talked about numerous times. You know, that's going to benefit him. Not a big power guy, but he'll probably pick up a few, chintzy home runs that he wouldn't get a lot of other places. And if we're being honest, the Yankees are going to score a lot of runs. They should if everybody in that lineup stays healthy. They should score a lot of runs. And I think his numbers will be slightly inflated, but again, it's a projections list, and whatever happens, and it all matters. I think he's actually probably a little bit undervalued defensively, if I'm being honest. Not a Gold Glove type guy, but better than I think the average person realizes. So he ended up being number 5. He probably really should have been number 6.
Okay, so I have Ozzie Albies number 5. I think he has a bounce back year for Atlanta. I think a lot of Atlanta Braves have bounce back years. I just think the 4 people ahead of him have better seasons. There's nothing against Ozzie Albies in this situation. I'm predicting just such a monster year for Jazz Chisholm, and I don't think that if Charlie knew Alex Bregman was the second baseman for Boston, he would have him ahead of Alex Bregman either. I have Alex Bregman number 4, and it struggled for me to put him that low. I think Bregman is consummate team player. Going to play in Fenway. It's going to have a short porch out there in left field. I think he's a good teammate, a good player. Can play him. He's going to be able to play second base for them. I think he's going to be in the middle of that lineup. I think he's going to add some serious protection. I think they're going to be able to hit the ball. I think Boston's going to have a lot better year. So I have Bregman number 4, and I'm not apologetic about it.
No, I mean, again, if I didn't mess up my list, he should be in everybody's top 3 or 4.
Okay.
Nico, I have Nico number 4. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. He's improved every year over year. He keeps getting a little bit better. Not a power guy. You look at, other than Simeon and maybe Marte, they're the really only power guy, second baseman on here. Obviously, Bregman's going to be, but he's really naturally a third baseman. His average continues to go up. He still hits really well with runners in scoring position. He's a guy who does everything really, really well. He's been a Gold Glove finalist before. Obviously can't just get over the hump with the kid from Milwaukee. But he just continues to improve, and I think the Cubs are going to be sneaky good this year. I think his numbers take another bump up this year. He's going to hit the top of that lineup with Dansby Swanson and all those guys. I think he's going to be another, 75, 80 RBI guy. And again, he's a top 3 defensive second baseman in the National League. So that's why he would have been number 5, but that's why he's number 4 on this one.
just quick comment there. I don't know what you have to do to have power at second base, but I will say this, right? Jazz Chisholm has more home runs last year than Nico Horner has for his career. So like it's basic. I'm wrong. If you take Nico has 29 in the 6 years he's been in the major leagues. Jazz had 24 last year. So I think Jazz is a little bit more pop than you give him credit for. And that's not the first time Jazz has hit 24 home runs. He had 24 home runs the year prior. He had 19 home runs. I think that if we're being honest, Jazz is a little bit more pop than you're giving him credit for.
I'm not taking away from his pop per se. I mean, he's also guys played 3 different positions.
Correct.
He's probably really not naturally a second baseman either. But that's where he's going to play for New York. So again, that's what I'm saying. He's a transplant. Alex Bregman's a transplant. So if you take those two out of it, if you fill this out with really natural second baseman, there's really only 2 with like legitimate pop, and it's
Semien and Marte. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So that's all. That's only my point.
That's fair.
So number 4 for me, I got Ozzy Albies in Atlanta. A lot of what Gene said is why I have him where I do on my list. I think Atlanta last year, just across the board, was down. I think Ozzy is going to have a bounce back year. The numbers are going to be back where you typically see them, especially with the way that lineup's going to be. I mean, if everybody's healthy, he's a guy that can get 100 RBIs next season. So I think Albies has 100% the potential to bounce back this year. And I think Atlanta playing better baseball and just having everybody healthy, I mean, I think Ozzy have a great year. But the top 3 that I have ahead of him, there was no way I could put him ahead of these 3 guys. And that just kind of leaves me right in number 3 with Alex Bregman. One question mark that I have with Alex, I mean, obviously he was a great defensive third baseman there. I want to see how the transition looks with him going over to second. Does he get, I mean, I would feel like for me as a competitor, if I know I'm better at a position than my teammate and you're just trotting Devers out there at third and he's just looking like he's lost at the position, that would wear on me over time. So I'd be curious to see if Bregman struggles at all, just making the transition or wanting to get moved back over to third there. But I mean, with where his numbers are going to be, he's going to hit 25 home runs. He's going to flirt with 100 RBIs and just a model of consistency there, even with the move to Boston. So I like Bregman coming in number 3.
So number 3 for me is a guy that I think is going to have a monster year as long as he can stay on the field. 2 years ago, I think he ended up I think he went over 100 RBIs, or he was right around. He was really close to it. Last year, I think he only played 99 games. He was limited to injury. Batting wise, he's one of the more dangerous hitters in all of baseball. He absolutely kills the Phillies. I shit you not, every time he comes up with somebody on base, he gets a hit. He can steal bases. He's above average defensively. Again, to Gene and Cottrell's point, I think Atlanta is kind of the rehab lineup of the year. And if they can, if they get Acuna back at full strength, Ozzy Albies, Michael Harris, then obviously, Matt Olson, kind of gets back to his form from 2 years ago. They're just going to pound the baseball, and his numbers are going to reflect that. So I have him number 3. I think he has a monster bounce back here this year.
I got Marcus Semien number 3, and to me, it's what year am I getting? Am I getting the career year he had in 2023 where they won the World Series, or am I getting the 237 year he had last year? And I think Marcus Semien's a very good second baseman. I have him 3rd on this list. I think he's going to have a very, very good year. I'm just predicting all world seasons from Jazz and Ketel Marte. I'll put the honest with you, right? If I was being bold, Gene, I probably put a Jazz 1. I can't put him ahead of Ketel Marte because that's how much better Ketel Marte is right now than Jazz. But I'll get to Ketel in a minute. Marcus Semien had career high season 2023. 2024 was an off year for him. Normally is after you win a World Series. They also had a lot of injuries in that clubhouse, so I can understand that. Jazz Chisholm is, I think, walking into a perfect situation. The locker room, the teammates did not like him in Miami. He was voted by his own teammates as the most overrated player in baseball. That is insanity to me. Jazz, when he went to New York before he had the injury, looked to me like he was in a situation where he was going to flourish. He batted 270. He had a 500 OPS, 500 slugging. He had 825 OPS. Like, he was absolutely on pace to be having his best season when he was an all-star the second half of last year. Now, granted, it was only for 46 games, and I get that. I think the short porch helps him. I think the big moment in New York helps him. He's a very big-time player. That's who Jazz Chisholm is. I think Jazz is a great year. I think Jazz will be a guy that, with the injuries already in New York, he'll be one of those guys that steps up that allows New York to still be a really good baseball team. I think he has a great year. I think second base is a perfect home for him. He's athletic. He's fast. He's got great hands. I have no problem with Jazz going to second base. I think his batting won't hurt at all. And I think the 24 home runs he had last year is just the start of what's going to happen for him. I could see the guy hitting 30 home runs. I could see him being an all-star this year. So I'll go Jazz Chisholm number 2. And I think he'll be the best second baseman in the American League over Marcus Semien.
I'm going to take Semien number 2, just because, again, he's a guy that has the potential to hit 40. I don't think Jazz has that. I think, Corey Seager hitting behind him, as long as he stays healthy. I think that Rangers lineup, to your point again, I think they're going to have a little bit of a bounce back year. A little bit too much of the World Series hangover from the year before. Again, Semien's a guy that has shown before he has no problem getting up in the upper 30s, low 40s for home runs. And again, that's just a ceiling that I don't think Jazz can get to. Defensively, I think they're probably very similarly. They're probably on par with each other. I'd have to look at their defensive run save. They're both solid. They're not going to wow you, but I will take the higher ceiling, and I think a more focused, healthy Marcus Semien. That's why he's number 2 for me.
Marcus Semien was also number 2 for me. I think obviously the potential of the home run numbers is key, but I also think this is probably the last year that we get this high. We have him this high on a list. I think with the age being where it's at, he's 34, going to be 35 during the course of the season there. And just with like the drop off in numbers, kind of like you mentioned, Gene, like we saw 2 years ago where he had the great year, and then you see the drop off in numbers this year. I don't think that he's fallen off the cliff, but I want to see this year. I think this is the last year where you can get the crazy numbers from him. And that's ultimately what I'm projecting there. You talk about the drop off after winning the World Series. I think it's this year. Obviously, last year didn't go to how they wanted it to go. I think this is how you get the bounce back year from him. And I think you were short selling him a little bit. I mean, I think Marcus is a pretty solid defender. So ultimately for me, I got him at 2. But number 1 had to go Ketel Marte, Diamondbacks. Biggest reason, I mean, last year I want to say I had him at like 6 or 7 going into the year. And then he came out and was like, you know what? Watch this. I'll go hit 36 home runs, bring in close to 100 RBIs, and have the second best season of my career. Like, those are numbers that are undeniable there. He's only 30, 31, or whatever the case may be. And then adding, obviously Josh Naylor to the lineup. Like, you have the bats there. You have the other young kid, Corbin. You have Corbin in the lineup as well. He's going to have plenty of opportunity to drive and runs again this year. And then again, he's going to be a guy that can hit 35 home runs this year. You get the best bat. You're in a great situation in Arizona. It was really hard not to put, Ketel Marte at number 1.
Preseason rankings have Marcus Semien 2nd, Jazz Chisholm 3rd as defensive second baseman.
I'll bet money they don't end up that way.
Oh, you're probably right. I don't disagree. I was shocked when I looked at it. It's just through Bleacher Report. They did a report 5 days ago.
That's ridiculous. I don't know how you cannot have Bryce Terang and Andres Jimenez as your 1 and 2. Like, there's no world that's not the case.
Yeah. Oh, bro. Jimenez is 5.
That's ridiculous.
Terang is 6.
He's
ridiculous.
Terang 6. He's a platinum Gold Glove winner already.
I don't think it's just defense though. What they're looking at. Defensive run saved. I'm just going by what Bleacher Report had. I googled it really quick to see what his defensive run saved was. And Marcus Semien had 10 defensive run saves last year, which ranked him like 11th in baseball. Just I wanted to look at it when you said it. So
that's what I said. I feel like he wasn't giving them his proper due there defensively, but obviously he's not close to the same level as.
I said
Turan
10th. I said they're both
right.
really solid.
Right.
I think that's spot on. Number one, though, I got Ketel Marte. It's funny. I went back and watched the first year we did these, and it was after him coming off the really bad year after his monster rookie year, and we all kind of said the same thing. Like we didn't know, what Ketel Marte we were going to get, and how he was going to bounce back, and looked like he kind of was disinterested, might want to get out of Arizona. And then all of a sudden they started getting players and they getting better. And we've gotten, the last 2 years, we've gotten the real Ketel Marte. I think he's the best second baseman in baseball by far. I think there's a drop off to no matter whoever you have number two. Yeah. The kid is super talented. I don't want to say the knock on him, but the question really with him always has been kind of his attitude. And then, you sprinkle in a really good year, a World Series appearance, Silver Slugger and stuff like that. And he's become a leader, one of the leaders in that clubhouse in Arizona. He's one of those kids that is super exciting to watch. He can do everything. And he's a menace at the plate when he's locked in. When he's locked in, he is a very, 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 very difficult out. So for me, not a hard decision this year for number one. It was Ketel Marte by a mile for me.
The funny thing is, the reason I have Marte 1 and is because even if Marte has an off season, statistically, he'd have a better season than every single player that's on this list. This is truth, right?
No, you're right.
Postseason he had 2 years ago where he just couldn't get out, right? He had that hitting streak throughout the whole postseason when Arizona made that run to the World Series. Like every game he was on base. He batted .292 last year, finished third for MVP. And you could probably argue he finished second. Shohei Ohtani absolutely just ran away with the award. But the point being is he was every bit incredible at second base last year. So even if he has an off year, he's still going to have a better year than everybody on this list. That's why he's my number one. We got trivia. We're almost exactly on time, gentlemen. Loving it.
Professionals.
Working on it.
Cottrell, I got some bad news for you.
Oh, brother, what happened?
Your Buckeyes just got upset, and Joe Lunardi just moved them out of the tournament.
They lost to Iowa.
Yep. It's all right.
They didn't. If I'm being honest, they didn't deserve to make it. They would have been a 1 out anyway. So,
all right, Sal, you want me to type the question up so the listeners can hear it, and then turn my comments off? Okay.
Type the question so the listeners can hear it.
Or yeah, all right. Thanks. You know what I meant. See it. What's the question?
Question is, where did it go? Here we go. Whoops.
Give me a minute though. I'm gonna put it right in there, and then I'm gonna turn comments off. So I probably can get the first one off the top of my head anyway. But
which team in the NCAA tournament has the most appearances? Top 10.
So you said which team? Top 10 NCAA tournament appearances. Am I correct?
You're correct.
NCAA men's basketball, right?
Yep.
I kind of figured that tournament appearances, duh. All right, so that should be up on the ticker. Oh, wait, I got to turn this banner off. I did such a bad job of this, but they'll know what it is. Add banner and then put it there. Oh, that actually looks better. Let's take the ticker off and put that there. And let me turn comment off. Comments off. Okay, I'm good. Bids. All right, so I was right. I think that I can give you. This is going to go super quick, but I'll start with a team that won the most national championships. Give me the UCLA Bruins.
UCLA Bruins, believe it or not, well, they're on the list, but believe it or not, they are number 4.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to go with Duke.
Duke is number 5.
I'll go with North Carolina.
North Carolina is number 2.
And I'll go with UCLA.
That's already been said.
Oh, duh. Did you say that? Oh, Kansas.
Kansas is number 3.
Give me Sparty.
Michigan State is number 9.
All right.
Michigan State is number 9?
Number 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm gonna go with Kentucky.
Kentucky is number 1.
Wow. He should get an extra point for that. He should. I'm not. Okay. Indiana.
Indiana is number 6.
All right. So I got some that kind of just really all blend together.
I agree. I'm at that point.
I'll go with Arizona.
Strike number 1.
I'll go with someone that I feel like makes the tournament every year, so they have to be on here. Gonzaga.
Strike number 1.
Wow.
I'll go with Tennessee.
Strike number 2.
Okay. Give me oh man. Do I go? I'm kind of caught between two. They're probably both wrong. Do I go old school or new school? Control, I'll let you pick. Do I go with something that's a little bit more old school or new school? Because I'm torn so closely between two.
I'll let you go old school.
I'll go Georgetown.
Strike number 2.
All right. Well, I'll take them. Let's see if they're there. Give me Villanova.
That's what the other one. That better not be there.
Villanova is number 7.
Scott! Yo, Control, you might have won this by doing that.
Let's go. Let's go.
That might have been it. That's exactly where I was at.
Oh, and I got
Three
another
left.
one. And I got another one, baby.
3 left. I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. I'm like stuck where to go.
Uh-oh. Is Cottrell going to get on the board?
I hope so.
Finally. It's only March. I mean, we've only been doing this since the first of the year.
Man, I'm so like torn on this because I have like 5 or 100% Control.
I think so.
Oh, I don't know 100%. I know 5 I can guess, but like they're all like really jammed up. What numbers am I missing, Chow?
Get them on time. Come on, let's
go.
go.
What numbers am I missing?
We are missing number. Well, one is tied with Michigan State for 9.
Okay.
So we're missing 7, 8, and the other one is tied for 9.
Okay, so we're missing near the bottom.
You're missing You're missing 3 out of the bottom 4.
Wisconsin.
10 seconds. What was your answer?
Wisconsin.
Sorry, that is incorrect, sir.
I'm gonna go with
take a stranglehold here.
I'm gonna go with the team that we actually talked about a few weeks ago when I gave one of the trivia questions. I'm gonna go with Temple.
That is strike 3, sir.
So we both had strike 3. So we got to keep going until he's up 1, right?
He is up 1 with 3 to go.
So we just got to. And these all 3 are gettable, right?
2 of them definitely are. The last one, I'll be honest, was surprising to me, but it's still gettable.
Okay.
They do a national championship that I think everybody just forgets about, but
gettable.
It's a huge school. That's all I'll say.
Give me the Q's.
Syracuse
That's a good one. They're on there.
Number 8.
They're on there. I got
2 left.
I got 2 more. I got 2 more in me. I'm gonna go with Purdue.
Purdue, unfortunately, is not on the list.
I have 3 in mind, and I'm gonna do this again just for fun. Cottrell, I have a northeastern team and a southern team. You pick, and I'll take one or the other.
Go South.
Texas.
That is incorrect.
I am going to go with Houston.
Also incorrect.
Maryland was my Northeast team.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Princeton.
Incorrect.
Louisville.
Louisville is number 7.
Let's go. Yo, you got to get this to tie it.
There's 2 left. He's 1 to tie or both to win.
Louisville. Michigan?
Incorrect.
Gene, you can pull it off.
I don't know if I can pull it off. I got to go with, there's got to be an out west team on here. UCLA can't be the only one. You know what? I'm going to go the Ivy League route. Give me Penn.
Incorrect.
USC.
Did you see its face, though? There might be an Ivy League one on there.
Incorrect. There's no Ivy League school on here.
They get a guaranteed guy each time, and Penn was winning it for years.
I will give you.
Whoa! We got plenty guesses still loaded. No.
Okay. All right.
I see.
Know,
Gene's,
if I get
Gene's,
it, win.
Gene's firing over here. He's got them.
I do. I got a bunch of guesses. I just don't know how right they are.
I got 3 more in my head.
All right, they won a couple national champions. Give me Chomp. Give me the Gators.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Another team that's won national championships, and that was one of my teams, so I'm glad you guessed them. I'll go with Virginia.
That's a good one.
Incorrect.
Can you give us areas of the country?
Oh, Gene, you got more in your head here.
I know that's fine. I'm up 1. I don't mind if he gives you areas of the country like your turn. I don't mind. I'll wait. Give me.
I only got
UConn.
That's it.
Incorrect.
Oh, I swore they would be there. That was the last one I had in my head.
You can see it when they come to my head. Like my eyes tell you exactly when they come to my head.
All right. Let's just go through these here. State. Indiana's already done. 12 over there. Let's see. Set them. I said Michigan. Why not? Ohio State.
Incorrect. Do we want hints yet?
Give him a hint, bro. We got to move.
Yeah. Let's go the hint route.
All right. The 2 schools remaining. One school has just fallen on harder times recently. For both of your lifetimes, was a staple in the tournament.
Okay.
The other one is a football school.
Football school. Is it Bama?
Incorrect.
Okay.
Falling
They're now
on
basketball school. Bama's now basketball school.
Falling on.
They're never going to be a basketball school.
Falling on hard times lately. Perennial. And then one's a football school. All right, so
Cottrell needs to get to football school because I feel like he'll figure out the other one before Gene will.
I know that's why I'm going that route. I'm like, all right, football. If it's a football school, you got.
You have 15 seconds, sir.
All right. Let me go through these here.
Where am I missing?
All right, let's see. Who was in the CFP this year?
10 seconds. 5 seconds. Need an answer, sir.
Notre Dame.
Tie for number 9.
Oh my God! You just bracked Notre Dame at the end, and it was accurate. I love that,
Bro.
You said college football playoff. I was like, Cottrell's to get this.
Get it.
Really pissed off when he finds out who it is.
So where are we at? Is it 5-4 and he needs one to tie?
No, we're tied.
It can't be tied unless there's
11. 11. He said there's tied for 9.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 11.
There's 11 on the list, and we have 5-5.
Yep.
Okay. And the last one's falling on hard times.
I am so glad that I didn't guess Clemson. Like I was so close to guessing Clemson.
Falling on hard times recently.
It's a great clue.
I'm sure it is. I would have said Villanova. I know you already said them. I'm just falling on hard times recently, but they've been a staple in the tournament.
You saying Georgetown already is like throwing me off too, because like
I also said Indiana. So like
yeah,
Indiana's another one that like staple in the tournament when I was younger.
Literally in the same category as all those teams.
I believe that.
You'll laugh when whoever gets it.
all right, I gotta guess.
Go ahead. Let him go.
No, Gene, you got.
I don't have a guess. I'll go past, and I'm still thinking. I don't want to waste time. We gotta move anyway.
All
right. West Virginia.
Nope.
You know what I'm thinking of in my mind? I'm thinking of like just middle America schools because he keeps saying that. So I'm like, is it a Big East team? Former Big East team?
I think it's still a Big East team.
Oh, is it Marquette?
Nope.
Marquette has not fallen on hard times. Okay. So if they're still a Big East, fallen on hard times recently.
I thought the Marquette Golden Eagles would be the answer. Oh, I have it. 100% have it.
They're kind of on the rise, if anything.
Oh, man, Gene's got it.
They're in Ohio. Well, get it, bro. I want you to have it. Get it.
No,
they're in Ohio.
Well, I'm definitely not. I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm going with.
5 seconds.
Get it.
It's Xavier.
Incorrect.
Cincinnati's
Incorrect. In the Big 12.
See, this is why he's better at basketball, college than I am.
I can't believe you guys haven't got
St. John's.
No,
oh, that's incorrect. A great one.
I know, but he said they've fallen on hard times recently, and they're really good this year. So I'm like, what is going on?
That's a great one, though.
This is not the one on the list I would have thought you guys wouldn't have gotten.
I don't know. They're still in the Big East?
Pretty sure.
Providence.
Nope.
Seton Hall.
Oh, no.
Creighton.
No, I thought Control was going to say it.
It's not Creighton?
No.
I'm just naming Big East schools now. How am I missing this?
Bro, it's not. I'm trying to get it out here.
10 seconds.
Bro, who the fuck else is in the Big East?
5 seconds.
Rhode Island. Shit, I don't know.
Jesus, incorrect.
Butler.
Incorrect.
Bro,
I'm just naming Big East schools. That's all I'm doing.
That's what I'm trying to do too.
I think you guys haven't named the only one that's left.
Who the fuck else plays in the Big East?
I don't know.
I got nothing. I got to pass. Gene, go ahead.
I don't know.
Could you give us a player from said school?
Yeah. How about this, ready? You give us a player from said school, and the first person that says it wins. This way, we're not doing this. We got to end this. We're hour 20.
I just want to check one thing.
You guys on the edge of our seat. They're not in the Big East anymore. He's about to tell. They're not in the Big East anymore.
I might be. Hold on.
Is it Pitt?
Oh, Gene, I think we went through the whole Big East.
All right, they're in the ACC.
Is it Pitt?
No.
They're in the ACC. Went from the Big East to the ACC.
There's only a couple, so this should go.
Get it, bro. I want him to get it.
I'm trying.
I want you to get it.
From the fucking ACC now. Georgia Tech? I don't know.
Nope. All right, I'm going to give you a famous alumni. Here we go.
Famous alumni.
Oh man, there's two. It's kind of like.
Does it give it away?
If I say one, it'll give it away to Cottrell. If I say the other one, it's going to give it away to you.
Fuck. Wait a minute. I got it.
Who is it, Jen?
Is it Wake Forest?
Well, Tay Diggs went there.
I thought you were going to say like Tim Duncan.
No.
I don't, bro.
I'm.
Go ahead. Just give it away to him. Give the one that will give it away to him.
Are you for real?
Yes.
Jim Brown.
Boston College.
No.
I don't know, bro.
Where the fuck did Jim Brown go?
Give the one that will give it away for me now. Clemson.
No, it's not Clemson. All right,
Louisville.
go ahead. Give the next one. Louisville.
Donovan McNabb.
Oh, Syracuse. I said Syracuse. I said the orange. We are doing this forever. I said Syracuse.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I said the orange. I said Carmelo Anthony played there.
Nobody talked about Carmelo Anthony. Nobody said Syracuse.
I didn't say Carmelo. I said the orange. 100%.
I feel like we said Syracuse at a point earlier.
I 100% said the orange.
You can go rewatch the whole.
I promise you, I said the orange.
All right, we're gonna have to go rewatch that.
But. Syracuse.
Nobody said it.
So there's 11 teams on there, right?
Yep.
Okay, name the 11 teams and watch this. I'll show you exactly why I definitely said it.
Kentucky, North Carolina,
Hold on. Kentucky, you said. I said North Carolina. That's 1-1.
Kansas.
I said Kansas.
UCLA.
I said UCLA.
Duke.
I said Duke.
No,
Indiana.
He said Duke. I said Indiana.
Villanova.
He said Villanova.
Louisville.
I said Louisville.
Michigan State.
I feel like I said Villanova, and you said that wasn't on the. We're gonna have to run this back.
No, you got
Villanova was number 7 because the reason that I said old school, new school, I said Georgetown. Georgetown was my old school. Villanova was my new school, and he said no to Georgetown, and then
I said Nova. Yeah, you're right.
But I definitely said Syracuse.
Yeah, I thought Syracuse.
Charles said Michigan State. Yeah, you said Michigan State.
And then Notre Dame.
Gene said that, Shally. See? He definitely said Syracuse.
We're gonna have to play.
He did. Gene said Syracuse 5 minutes ago. All right, we're done. It doesn't matter. I wanted Cottrell to win. Can I just give Cottrell the win?
No, I don't take those. We're gonna earn it.
Bro, we're going through it. I'm going nuts, bro. I was going absolutely nuts.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I said the Qs. I thought I said the orange. Alana. Even Alana's on my back. Alana. There we go. All
right, she's gonna get on you. Elena,
I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't beat me up. I didn't mean it. I'll drive out to Ohio and apologize.
But yeah, I got the brackets for Power 4. Probably should have grabbed one for the Big East, but
St. John's.
Here we go. But yeah, let's start off in the Big 12.
God, the Big 12 is gonna be fun.
Who you got then?
You guys go first.
Some of these games are already over.
Yeah, and half of it I see is cut off. So, Bill, you want to start it off? You want me to start it off? What are we doing?
I think this is a fun bracket. I mean, I think there's a couple teams that could come out of the Big 12. Obviously, if Iowa State, I think Iowa State actually won earlier. So Iowa State, BYU, I think that's going to be a crazy game. I think Houston's a team to beat. But can we scroll down or no?
Yeah, I just said I got cut off there. So I'll work on getting.
All right, I'll give my picks.
Put back on.
I have Texas Tech beating Houston in the Big 12 finals. Texas Tech over Houston.
I have Houston winning the Big 12.
I have Houston over Arizona for what it's worth. And I don't even like Arizona really this year, but I like where they're placed.
They're so up and down.
They are.
John Suggs got Baylor versus Houston. We're gonna give our players picks, by the way, our players championship picks. Eric, I promise. You just got to tune in. You have to you have to share the live, and then we'll do it. I'm kidding. I know you already did. I appreciate you.
Baylor is interesting because if Baylor can make a run in the tournament, make a run in this tournament, they could find themselves off of that. I think right now they're probably on like the 8-9 line. If they can find their way or play their way onto a 7 line, I think they could give the right team a problem in that region of the bracket. I don't think they're going to take out any of the 1 seeds in the tourney, but I mean, if you're talking about, a team like Wisconsin on the 2 line, then I mean, I think Baylor could give a team like that all they've bargained for and then some.
I don't disagree. I think it's closely packed. BYU's playing best, but about as good as basketball as anybody in the country the last month. They really turned the corner and started beating people. Houston, that would be a tough game there. Texas Tech, again, I like Texas Tech. I just feel like they're a little bit of a less talented version of Houston. That's what I feel like Texas Tech is. So, but I will go. I'm sticking with Houston over Texas Tech in the final.
We are going to have the biggest March Madness bracket ever. I need everybody that's in the chat. John Suggs, I need you to show me your talent and pick a bracket. It's only $20. Eric Rosenblum, your dad, anybody you and I know, we need brackets from you. Derek Dempsey, I can count on you for a bracket. Justin Louder, I know I can count on you for a bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Elena, see, I said it right.
There you go.
What we got here?
But we'll move on to the ACC here, and
Duke.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have a tough time not being able to see a Duke versus Clemson final. Like I'd be hard pressed to not that if we didn't run into that. Like I'd be genuinely surprised.
I got Duke
Louisville.
versus Louisville.
Louisville has one of their shooting nights that they've had the last couple of weeks. They can easily beat Clemson. Wake Forest is not going to have anything for Duke. Georgia Tech, I think, already won today.
Yeah, they play Georgia Tech tomorrow.
Yeah, North Carolina already won today. SMU is a sneaky little team at the bottom. I just don't think they're big enough to match up with Clemson. I think that's what's going to hurt them. So I'm going to go with Duke and Clemson in the final as well.
Duke over Louisville, just because I don't want to see Duke have to get physical from Clemson.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, I think that's exactly what Duke needs, though. Like right before the tournament, like get physical, like show the team themselves that, hey, we can beat a team like this. We're going to have to do in the tournament. Let's prove that we can do it now. I think that'd go a long way for them, especially after the way the last matchup went. But I guess time will tell. Moving on, I think the Big Ten is next here. Again, all these are before the matchups that happened today or yesterday.
Michigan State kind of got a little bit lucky with the way the draw came out on this. I don't think Oregon's a real threat to them. And then every other really good team, Purdue, Michigan, Maryland, Illinois, they're all in the bottom half of this bracket. Michigan State on top of that is just playing really, really well right now. I'll go Michigan State. I'll go Michigan State over.
I can't post that comment, Alex.
I'll go Purdue.
All right. Well, you don't want to say it. I'll say it. I got Michigan State over Michigan. I think
we're playing.
That's fine. I just think that but Purdue, all those teams on the bottom region there, like I think that's going to be a bloodbath. And I think with Michigan, I mean, I think they beat Purdue. Purdue hasn't been a consistent team. I don't like their consistency on the offensive side of the ball. And you talk about Michigan not playing well. They got Dusty May. Dusty May is going to be able to coach and put all their players in the position to be successful there. But I like Michigan State's run. I think they get a cleaner run, and I think Michigan State's just a better team.
I'll take Maryland over Sparty.
You got Maryland winning?
Yep, Maryland beating Sparty. I do.
That would shake shit up.
And then we have the wild, wild west of the SEC.
Throw a dart at a board, bro.
So this is the problem, right? And I say this with all due respect. I think you need to lose if you're a team like, and I mean that, like if you're Kentucky or you're A&M, you cannot win this tournament. If you win this tournament, you're going to lose very early. Like I say that because they don't have the double bye.
I said that last week. I mean, again, Auburn can win one game here, get to the semi. They're going to lock in a 1 seed, and it's not going to change anything for them. I said this the same exact thing last week for Kentucky, Missouri, A&M, any of those teams. They have to play 4 games in 4 days against who, playing some combination of Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, and then playing 2 more of them. It's an absolute gauntlet, man. It's a gauntlet. And I know you could potentially get a full week off, but it's going to be a lot of really tough basketball. And everybody that has a bye in this tournament already is already locked into the tournament. So, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to watch this starting tomorrow when you start getting some of these ranked matchups. So it's going to be bonkers. But
I'm going to give you the craziest prediction for this tournament, and just because I think that teams, especially like a team like Auburn, is going to just be looking toward the tournament. They're probably going to be a 1 seed. Almost like even if they lose, they might need to win one game.
Too.
What?
I was just saying I got a crazy one too, so I'm with you.
I have Florida beating A&M.
Oh, you mother! That is exactly what I have.
Okay. I didn't want to I'm sorry.
That's exactly what I have, and a lot of the reason, you said it. I think for A&M, you talk about where they're at, and it could be a detriment for them for the tournament. But I think that's that'd be the confidence boost. If you can get through and you beat Tennessee, then you beat Auburn, and you're in the SEC championship game, win or lose, that, hey, we just beat 2 teams that have the ability to win a national championship this year. So I think they're going to play hard. I think they're going to treat it like it is the tournament, because seeding is going to be everything in this year's tournament. There are so many good teams across the board. Like, you do not want to get stuck having to see, great teams or ultimately teams that falter in these tournament games that should realistically be a 3, and maybe they drop down to a 4 or 5. So for me, I think A&M is going to get it done. I think Auburn's the best team here, and I still like them to win the national championship, but I think A&M beats out Auburn, and then ultimately Florida takes care of business in the championship game.
I think as crazy it's going to be, I still think Auburn gets to the final. Like I said, I think they beat Tennessee. I don't think Ole Miss or whoever comes out. I think Arkansas already won, so I think they handle that game easily. So I think Auburn gets to the final, and I actually think Alabama comes out of the bottom. I hate to go chalk here because of that'd be 1 versus 3. I think we're just gonna have a bunch of incredible games though, like just wacky buzzer beaters. I think every game's gonna go down to the last minute. I think it's just gonna be great basketball.
All right, well, that is it. And Gene, I know you've been talking about the bracket for the last couple weeks here.
Let's talk about our special.
I was gonna say we let them know what's coming next week.
Monday night. And this is what we do on Wednesdays, and it really screws up our week. And it screws up our week in a sense that it's so much fun that we do it. We have so many people that tune in on Wednesday night to kind of fill out their bracket. They can watch us on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, right before they do their bracket. We are going to have a bracket special Monday night. We're doing 7 p.m., gentlemen.
Works for me.
Works for me as well.
All right, 7 p.m. We'll be going over the bracket. The bracket gets released Sunday night. Wire2Wire will be picking it. Now, obviously, we'll talk about some cool things about the tournament and what we'll do on next week's Wire2Wire episode 232. But this will be a bracket special to where we pick our Wire2Wire bracket. We can actually take our time, go through each game. It always feels rushed, right? Because then we're talking about like who won the PGA and then NFL free agents get signed. Then we got to hop in a shortstop list. We're already a little bit behind MLB. There's no way we can give the bracket the rights it needs. And guys, I'll be very clear with you. All day Thursday, all day Friday. I don't work next week on Thursday, Friday. Sorry, guys. I'm working Wednesday up until we do the podcast Wednesday night. And then Thursday, Friday, Gene is not working. He is sitting on the couch. It's almost better than 7 hours of commercial-free football because Thursday, I'll be at Adrian's house watching every game. And 12 o'clock game, we'll be there. We'll be ordering food, hanging out for the day. I won't be leaving until midnight because it's March Madness, baby. But Monday night, 7 p.m., Wire2Wire will be doing our full bracketology. And hopefully the goal is only on that specific podcast. We need to sell 20 brackets on that podcast. Guys, the goal is 150. I want 100, right? Minimum. The goal is 150. Bracket sold. $20 bracket. We can get there. I know we can.
And we will have a special guest host on Monday. Don't forget.
We will.
You got to tune in to see who it is.
No. I'll give him his long introduction on Monday. But a guy that played in the Big Five, played with a lot of good players in the Big Five, really good player himself, and still involved in the Big Five basketball scene, and very, very, very knowledgeable basketball guy. So looking forward to it.
Sweet. Well, got a couple things to go over before we're done for the day.
Oh, well, we got a couple things to go over. We got to talk about. We'll talk about more college basketball Monday night. We wanted to go over those brackets before we get into UFC, which, by the way, was another. Once again, I was right. Outside the Justin Gaethje fight, it was a terrible card. Just snooze fest. And the only thing I wasn't right about is Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira absolutely lost. But we'll talk about UFC next. But there's a topic that needs to get brought up, and it's not on this agenda because it's something weird that happened. But it's something that needs to get brought up. And I think me and Cottrell, I think I agree with most of Cottrell, but I think we're going to argue. And I don't want to argue with them. I'm going to try not to argue with them. But I think we're going to argue.
I don't think so.
Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James. It's a topic that has been circulating. And I guess the part that's a little annoying, but I get it. It's very smart on Stephen A. Smith's part is the media tour that's happened after LeBron James is like kind of went up to him. And it felt, and Cottrell will probably disagree, but it felt like it was a premeditated LeBron thing for attention.
Absolutely was.
The part that's annoying to me is LeBron made it seem like it was because of Stephen A. You talk about my son. You talk about my son. But it wasn't. It was when Stephen A. said, I'm pleading to you as a father. You need to not do this. Stop it. Stop it. You're putting him. He's not talking about Bronny. He's talking about LeBron. And Stephen A. is annoying for the way he handled it. I don't like the way he handled it. LeBron James walked right up to him. Said what he had to say. Stephen A. was very quiet about what's he going to do. He's 57 years old. LeBron James, a physical specimen, would kill him. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. So, like, I can understand why he stood there and was quiet, I guess.
They weren't going to fight.
He's not going to fight him.
Yeah, LeBron wasn't going to fight him there. Who do you think LeBron is?
But, Cottrell, I will pass you the rock because I know you have strong thoughts on this, and I spoke on it this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think the basic thing is, you know, regardless, we're in another situation. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. I say that because with LeBron, like this situation specifically. So he went out. Stephen A. Smith went out. He said what he said. I'm pleading with you as a father. That whole thing. So LeBron, Clutch, Rich Paul, all those guys, they tried to handle it behind the scenes. They sent out messages to Stephen A. Hey, we don't like, what you said. Like we do take exception to the as a father part. You want to talk about him as a, not being an NBA talent. You want to talk about him not performing at the NBA level. All fine and dandy. Matter of fact, Colin Cowherd did the exact same thing on his show on Fox. And LeBron has said nothing about it because he kept it strictly basketball. He was like, Jalen Hurts, the NBA is this gimmick league, essentially. Jalen Hurts' son will never play in the NFL just because Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. And he went on this whole tangent and nobody batted an eye at it. But when you go out and then you say, I'm pleading with you as a father, and they try to handle it behind the scenes, and then Stephen A. Smith has to go on his podcast the next day and has to be the big bad guy. And he's like, yeah, so LeBron's representatives, they texted me. They've been calling me. LeBron took exception with what he said. And I've been telling them I don't care. And, Stephen A. Smith's all the time talking about how, players know where to find me. I'm always at the games. Pull up. Like, I've never been afraid to talk to nobody. And then LeBron actually does it. He sees him at the game. He goes up to him and he's like, nah, like, I don't care what you got to say. This is too far. Like, that's my son. Like watch me. Like, when you bring up like the whole father part, like, nah, we got to cut that out. I don't understand how that can be looked at as like a gimmick or a premeditated thing when almost everybody I know would do the exact same thing, like about their kids or like people that they cared about. Like, if you try to handle it privately, and then Stephen A. goes like, "Oh, they could have called me on the side. Like, they could have called me after the game." What is the difference from I'm seeing you in person, or we could have the conversation again? LeBron's not about to fight this guy in the Staples Center like during the game. This is in the third quarter, so they're not about to fight. Stephen A. could have said, "No, like I stand by what I said," like, and it just left it at that. They could have had an argument back and forth, whatever the case may be. But to then go back and go on a podcast after he confronted you in person and say, nah, that was soft. And like, these are the comments that we're having afterwards. Like that's silly. That's silly.
I know you're going to fully support LeBron in this situation.
I'd support anybody in this situation.
I think that he's 70% right. But I think that this was not about LeBron James. This was about LeBron. And the way Stephen A. was talking to him is like the way he treated him as a father.
Questioning him as a father. You're 100% right.
But that's not what he said, though. He said, stop talking about Bronny. Like the comments he said.
My son. He said, like, leave that. Son. Yeah, leave that alone. Correct. And then he comes back and doubles down on it in the interview, or not interview, but in the conversation with Richard Jefferson, when he's talking about pleading with you as a father. That's exactly what he's talking about. Like precisely.
Shao, you got thoughts on this?
I absolutely despise anytime I have to stick up for Stephen A. Smith. It makes my skin crawl. It makes, and I'll say this. It was premeditated. And LeBron wanted it done on the court for a reason. So he could have the whole, what he thought was going to be the upper hand in controlling the messaging around it. I don't think for a second he thought Stephen A. Smith was going to go on 8 different podcasts and start talking shit. For that reason, to Stephen A.'s credit, if they wanted to talk, LeBron easily could have pulled him aside somewhere behind closed doors, and they could have had a conversation. It got done on purpose like that to show up Stephen A. Smith. And if you don't think that's the truth, then I don't know what to tell you.
It's during the timeout. Like, cameras aren't
correct.
Even rolling.
There's no way in hell LeBron couldn't get some person to walk up to Stephen A. Smith and say, hey, after the game, LeBron wants to talk to you. They could have done it in the tunnel. They could have done it anywhere. They didn't have to do it on the corner of the court when they know every goddamn camera in the world is pointed at him. Do you not agree with that?
That's ridiculous.
It's not. It's the truth. It's the truth. So, LeBron James, anybody anybody in that circle, Rich Paul, anybody could have went up to him and be like, yo, LeBron wants to have a word after the game. Stephen A's not going to run away. And again, they weren't going to fight. Even if it happened in the tunnel or behind closed doors, they weren't going to fight. That wasn't the outcome of it. My point is LeBron did it on the court for a reason. If he wanted to really have a conversation, he could have got somebody to go up to Stephen A. Smith and be like, yo, LeBron wants to talk to you after the game. And they could have went down the tunnel. They could have went in an office. They could have went anywhere where there wasn't 18 million cameras looking at them. And we probably never even find out about it. They could have aired their grievances, and that could have been it. LeBron did it on purpose to show up Stephen A. Smith. I don't know how you can even see it any other way.
Because when you deliberately, you don't like the part that blows my mind that everybody is blowing right by is that he tried to handle it in private. He tried to shoot Stephen A. message through his representatives that, hey, that wasn't cool. And Stephen A. goes on his podcast the next day to try and air it out and act like he's above that. Like, nah, don't try to message me. They tried to handle it in private. So I am sure, as sure as I can be, there are certain people where it is just on site. I'm not going to say their names, but Gene, I know you have a certain individual that if you saw them, does not matter the setting, you are going to speak your mind or you're going to do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do because certain lines are crossed. Now, I'm not saying it's the exact same. It's apples to apples. I'm just saying that at times when things are on site, especially when you try to handle them in private the right way, and they just get ignored or they try to blow it up in your face and, you know, one up you like with their platform, I don't see an issue with going up and confronting it to make your point as clear as possible.
Okay, then you deal with all the backlash that comes with it when you handle it that way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's no different than like it. That's the problem with LeBron. It's always like there's this side of it and then there's this side of it. Like, okay, you chose to handle it that way. So now everybody that saw it, and now that everybody knows what was said, and everybody knows, I hate to say it, what Stephen A. Smith is saying isn't wrong.
It is.
Now it's not.
What he did, the part about the father thing is wrong.
Correct.
What part? What part about the father thing?
Stop putting your son out like on the court, like making a mockery of him. As a father,
played serious minutes in 2 basketball games all season.
So like that's the part that he's referring to, and that's the part where I said I agree with him because when you speak about that, as far as like as a father, you're making a mockery of your son. Stop! I'm pleading with you. Stop putting him out on the court.
Who put him in that position? Who put him in that position?
Bro, he's averaging 22, 5 and 5 in the G League, and JJ Redick decided to try and give him.
I don't care about the G League. Everybody keeps bringing that up. I don't care about the G League.
I'm sure.
What is he doing in the NBA? Why is he getting embarrassed on an NBA court? And who put him in that position?
What I'm saying is, when players perform well,
who put him in that position?
Charlie, if you let me answer, I'll give it to you. It's January. The season started. The season starts in October. When you play well in the G League, teams give you an opportunity to play in the NBA.
You're too far into this. Why did he get drafted there? Why?
That has nothing to do with
it. Does
this
because LeBron made them draft him. LeBron has put all of this in motion and takes no responsibility for it.
All right. Okay.
Why did he get drafted there?
Let me counter. Let me counter.
Can't answer the question.
When he got LeBron's there. He got drafted because LeBron wanted to be in LA.
Okay.
Like, I think he would have got drafted regardless. He went to LA because of LeBron. Is he? No, he's not.
Now?
What?
Okay, so
my question to that, my rebuttal to that would be, what 55th pick in NBA history has ever been NBA ready their rookie year?
Agreed. How many of them play on the same team as their dad, and their dad has the power that he's pretty much running the organization? How many of those are there?
None.
How many of those are? None.
Okay. Their dad, none.
So LeBron, let's check the boxes. LeBron got him drafted. LeBron had his dumb moment when they played on the court together the first or second game of the year, whatever. Okay. Fine, that was nice. It was cool. I actually don't have a problem with that one.
Okay.
But since then, he's been atrocious. He shouldn't even be on the roster. He should go down to the G League and continue to develop because we all agree we think he's a good prospect. Correct?
Okay. That's what he's been doing.
So anytime he's on the court, he should get criticized because he has no business being there on an NBA court right now. None.
Correct. And
And that was all set in motion by one man.
My thing is, you average 22, 5 and 5 in the G League. You get the opportunity to play at the next level. They played him at the next level. He played bad. JJ Redick has not had him play meaningful minutes since. That's like literally you earn your opportunity. It's just funny because we're talking about LeBron here as if Giannis and Thanasis weren't on the Bucks together for 6 seasons and we never had a conversation about it. We only care because of the person who was behind it. If you don't think the Bucks drafted Thanasis because Giannis is on the team, you are out of your mind. And we saw how horrible he was for 6 seasons and we never had a conversation about it because we don't care. That's my biggest thing. We don't care. We care about who it is. We are, no matter what, right or wrong, LeBron is going to get criticized for every single thing that he does, right or wrong. It's just going to happen because you have people that are stuck in their ways one way or stuck in their ways in the other. It is 100% true. 100%.
I've stuck up for LeBron plenty of times.
I'm not saying you haven't, but I guarantee you in situations where you have stuck up for LeBron, there are 100% people on the other side.
Guys, I see both ends. I hate being shally on the fence. But I see both ends of this. I do agree that LeBron James gets a ton of unnecessary hate. When I hear it, I call it out. I also do believe that he brings a lot of that hate on himself.
And I agree with that, 100%.
But to be clear, when I say this, LeBron James made this whole draft fiasco the way he did because he worked it up for 3 years when he's talking about why I want to play with Bronny. And then he said, and then he said also on TV that Bronny was better than half the players in the NBA when he was in college. That was something you shouldn't say when you're in the NBA. And then then Rich Paul handled the whole thing terribly behind the scenes. When LeBron James told the public, if you want to play with me, just draft Bronny because I'm going to play a year with Bronny. And then Rich Paul goes, don't do that because if you do that, LeBron's not going to go play with you and there's going to be an issue.
Agreed. I have an issue with everything you said.
They didn't need to make the whole draft coverage about Bronny James. I felt like that was a little much. I've never disagreed with you about you being right about him being okay for the 55th pick. I hate it when it happened because I said that it took a spot from someone because I don't think he would have went drafted if it wasn't for LeBron. But he's proven me incorrect with his play in the G League, and he's proven that he should be a 55th pick in the NBA draft. But the way he's played in the NBA has been atrocious. And when I mean atrocious, I mean it's been worse than atrocious. He's been a bottom 5 player in the league when he's played on the court. I think he can develop. I just think that they're forcing him on the Lakers roster because LeBron is currently there, and LeBron wants to go on some of these trips and be around his son and develop his son more.
I would hear the argument if Bronny was getting trotted out every single night.
No, I get that.
But the fact that he's literally played in 2 meaningful games all season, and one of them was opening night, and we saw obviously how bad it went, and that's why he didn't play again until January. 3 months later goes by, you're having a great performance in the G League, you're efficient, again, 22, 5 and 5. They give you the opportunity to play, and then you play horrible, and then you go back down to the G League and you never see meaningful minutes again this season. Like I don't have any issues with that. But the as a father thing, like that's crazy.
I agree with that. That's the part I said I agree with you with. All right, real quick, gotta wrap up. We need PGA picks. Guys, do we really need to talk about that UFC pay-per-view? It was awful. It was so bad. Alex Pereira lost.
Got a cool KO out of it.
Yeah. It was just such a bad UFC pay-per-view again. I love Justin Gaethje, though. My man, he's must-see TV. The guy gives everything he has every time he's out there. Gonna have CTE when it's all said and done.
For sure.
That's facts.
Sorry to Alex Pereira lost his title. Sorry to Dana White for not being able to promote an Alex Pereira-John Jones fight, which would have been awful for Alex Pereira.
I think Alex lost, but at the same time, like, that fight was so boring. Like,
it's so bad.
And I get it. Like, Ankalaev won the fight off of technicality, but again, I know you can't score it this way, but we talk about it on this show all the time. If you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And I feel like Ankalaev really didn't beat the champ. And for whatever reason, Alex in the cage looked scared. Like it felt like he was running away from Ankalaev the whole fight. I'm like,
Ankalaev definitely applied pressure to him. He was not ready for that pressure, and he controlled him in the corner in the late rounds of the fight.
But he stopped every takedown though. So I'm like, what are you afraid of? All you gotta do is stand there and strike with him.
Yeah, it was boring.
They need. They're in a, I don't mean this in like a way that the guys that have belts right now aren't skilled. They just don't have a bunch of marketable people right now, and I really think it's hurting them. I mean, who do you really get excited about?
They have marketable people. They just don't have belts right now.
That's what I'm saying, and I think that's part of the problem with UFC right now. I think it's a huge issue. Like, and then you got John who wants to fight once a year, maybe. Like, they're in a weird spot right now. In a really weird spot.
The WWE is so much better than UFC right now, and that's terrible to say.
WWE's cooking right now.
It is. It shouldn't be that much better than the UFC though. Let's give our team at the Players Championship predictions. That's what I'd rather get into. Get that, and then you got to be kidding me, and then get the hell out of here.
You go first. Oh, I'll go first.
You got an
intro? Come on,
man. I forgot. We haven't done golf in a while, man. Damn,
bro. It's golf season. I shot 18 today.
Players Championship. Everybody's golfing now. I wasn't. Players Championship, TBC Sawgrass, infamous Pete Dye course. Obviously, the Island Green on 17. One of, if not the best, fields of the year. You pretty much have to be a top 50 player on the PGA Tour, and then other than that, if you didn't win a tournament last year, you really can't get into it. So, like, this is everybody in this tournament can golf. Really, really difficult course. Weather this weekend will definitely play a factor. They are expecting 2 days of nice weather and 2 days of bad weather. Lots of wind. It is a very nice course. I've actually played it. It's very hard. It could make for a really, really fun Sunday. I know Gene likes his tight tournaments down the stretch on Sunday. You might get one this week. So my overall
pick, I already know who's going to win the tournament. So
my winner for the week, I'm going with Ludwig Adbar. Swedish kid, super, super talented. Played pretty well on Sunday last week at Bay Hill. I like the way his game's trending. He's my pick to win it. Two long shots. I think Seb Straka always plays well there. And I like Casey Connors. If you could put the ball in the fairway and hit greens at Sawgrass, you have a shot. It always comes down to putting with him. He's plus 6,000 though. I think that's crazy odds for him, for a guy that hits the fairway as much as he does. So I got Seb at plus 4,800. Casey Connors at plus 6,000. And a fun over-under 52 and a half shots that find the water on 17. I'm taking the over this week with the win. So I will take the over at minus 110 for a fun prop.
All right. So I'll go with my next picks. I have two. I have a winner. I have a winner and somewhat of a long shot. The long shot, 30-1 counts a long shot, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I think the winner this week, and it's funny. I want to say Scotty Scheffler a million times. Scotty wins. Scotty wins. Scotty wins. I just can't see him winning 3 straight. It's kind of a wild statement for him to win 3 straight players. So I'm going Colin Morikawa. I think Colin's playing really good golf. I'm going Colin Morikawa to win, and then I'm going back to the well. Give me Hideki Matsuyama as my long shot at 30-1.
Well, not gonna lie to you guys. This week, there is no long shots. I'm going straight chalk. Scotty Scheffler plus 400 3-peat. You had the failed 3-peat attempt from the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this year. Doesn't happen to Scotty. Obviously, best golfer in the world. And I think he is on a mission to make sure that he gets number 3. So I got Scotty, and I think he's going to run away with it late.
Wyndham Clark. Yuck. Good golfer. I just don't like him. I just don't like him personally.
What do you do to you?
Nothing. And he's actually it's one of those weird things, dude. He's not even
Like
a bad
Carson,
guy.
it's like Carson Beck for me. You just like don't like his face.
Yeah, like he's got a great story too. He's a great kid. I just don't like him. I don't know why.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into You Got to Be Kidding Me.
All right, this week for me, this is a fun one. It's finally my turn. Going to the hardwood, going to college basketball. This week for me, I am going with the Michigan Wolverines. Why am I going with the Michigan Wolverines? Well, just back in November, I had so many Wolverines fans telling me that you have to learn how to lose. If you don't want the opposing team to come in your house and disrespect you, you should win the basketball. You should win the football game. That's what they were telling me in November. And I was like, you know what? We lost. I got to accept it. It is what it is. Well, fast forward, we're in March. Michigan State's playing Michigan in the last regular season home game for a lot of those seniors it was at Michigan State. And Michigan State is up double digits in the game. It's late. And they have a tradition that, when the seniors check out for that last time or, after the game, depending on how the game flow is going, that they call a timeout and everyone goes to the seniors as they check out. They go to midcourt, they do a push-up, and they kiss the Sparty logo in the middle of the court before they head back over to the bench. Well, in this particular game, Michigan State's at the free throw line and Tom Izzo's trying to pull his guys off the court. And you have two Michigan players that are standing right in the middle of the logo to, stop Michigan State from taking part in their ceremony there. So you had the first player goes up, he goes to the side there, does it, goes off. But then the one Michigan State player realizes that he sees what they're doing. They're standing directly at half. They're not standing back, to guard in transition or anything like that. They're right in the middle of the logo and they take exception with it. And, it starts a little tussle there. So this week for me, Michigan, you guys were talking so much about, losing with class. And, if you don't want them to take part in these things, then you should stop them from winning. Well, it is so great to see this. And it is not so fun when the rabbit has the gun. So this week, Michigan for me, for interrupting Michigan State's tradition.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
I was going to use LeBron. We already covered that in depth at this point. Did anybody see the chick beat the hell out of the other chick with the baton in the track meet though?
I've seen that, but I am not commenting on that fully. I'm not. She's broken. The girl that did it. And she's saying that she lost her balance and she didn't mean to hit her with it. It looks very obvious that she meant to hit her with it, but the girl's been all over. Yeah, it does. She said she lost her balance and she was. Look, I'll say this, right?
Only person I don't with a broken skull.
I don't. I get it. I just don't want to. I don't want to comment on it because I watched that girl cry on the media and the things that was said to her, and it always has to come down to racial stereotypes that get said to her in her comments and what she was mentioning. She was called a ghetto N-word. I just don't want to. I don't want to add to that. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. I do have one, and you guys will both laugh at this one. I was going to use something else, and I changed my mind. This is about the time I do it. March 12th, I'm using Gene Walzak as my You Gotta Be Kidding Me.
Right.
Gene Walzak has claimed that Myles Garrett was going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. Gene Walzak claimed that Draymond Jones would be a Philadelphia Eagle. He has just signed with the Tennessee Titans. Gene Walzak claimed last year that the New York Jets were going to win the Super Bowl. I got to listen. I'm right a lot. I'm wrong way too much this week. And for a guy that writes the NFL Genius on my logo, I know my name is Gene. I get it. But for a guy that writes that and has that comments all the time, I cannot be this wrong in the NFL. So I will use myself this week because while I do get a lot of things right, I've gotten a lot wrong recently. And this week, Gene Walzak.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
I've got too much wrong. I gotta do better.
I didn't even know you were on the Draymond Jones train there. I mean, obviously it makes sense with Milton leaving, but I didn't realize that was a pivot move for you.
So the reason I thought Draymond Jones would be a Philadelphia Eagle is because he played for Vic Fangio's defense in Denver, and then he played for Eagles defensive line coach Clint Hurt in Seattle. So it just felt like a glove to fix the Milton Williams situation. He's a very Milton Williams-esque player. They get assigned, but he got $10 million from Tennessee. So, like, I didn't never think that he would get $10 million on the open market. He was just released from Seattle. Like, I thought the Eagles could turn him into what Milton Williams was and have him work with Arjamo. But listen, if Tennessee's going to pay him $10 million, the market right now is wild for interior defensive linemen. But once again, I can't be this wrong. So I got to do a better job. It's not like I haven't done my research. I did my research. I knew who his defensive coordinator was in Seattle when he got signed there, Clint Hurt.
You know where he's from?
I don't know where he's from. No.
Cleveland.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. I knew he's from Ohio. I didn't know he was from Cleveland. Yeah. I definitely knew he's from Ohio.
Yep. Cleveland guy.
But John Suggs says this stuff all the time, but yet you can hop on anytime you want to debate with me. You can hop on anytime you want to debate with me. Any final comments, gentlemen?
Well, another week. We're having another breakdown. So we got another commercial this week. A little 25 seconds for Real Recognizes Real. And this week we got Will Johnson. So go ahead and play the clip.
Hike! Moss, quick throw, intercepted. It's going to be a pick six. Will Johnson will take it for the Wolverine touchdown.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
I don't know if I should use this as a you got to be kidding me, but why don't you switch the reels in the title?
What do you mean?
So, like, I feel like it should be real recognizes real. Like,
so the thought process behind it and like the reason it is the way it is, real is the film.
Correct.
Film recognizes real prospects.
Okay, that makes sense.
For me, the film doesn't lie, which is why the eye in the sky doesn't lie. Okay. So that's why it is the way it is.
Would have been like if you want to really break down sports, you have to watch the reels. So like that
would make a ton of sense.
I get it. I get what you're saying now. But appreciate you, Eric. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm begging you. I'm not begging you. I don't know why I'm saying that. We are running a fundraiser. I'm gonna call it what it is. Wire2Wire Network. Everybody on this network is going to be working their butt off to sell brackets. We will have the Venmo and the graphic posted on the page shortly. You can start buying your brackets now. Cottrell will be running the 1s and 2s through ESPN. Am I correct?
That's correct, sir.
We'll have the Venmo. It's very easy. It's Wire2Wire Sports Pod. Let me just make sure I said that right.
You did.
Okay. So $20 a bracket, $10 goes to help us for our development, which 100% we need. We're spending it out the wazoo. And $10 goes to the winner. If you purchase, if we get over 100 brackets, we will have $1,000 first prize, and second prize will be determined by how many brackets that we get purchased. $1,000. We will give you updates each week. We're going to go nuts with it. We're going to have a lot of fun. Get a bracket. Support. Appreciate you. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
It's on build now.
No. I mean, well, F1 starts this weekend, opening weekend for F1, Australia GP. I'm excited. Big, lots of changing drivers and cars. Lewis obviously made the switch to Ferrari, so
Ferrari.
be a lot of eyeballs on F1 this season. But I think Lando Norris wins Sunday morning, but we'll see. It's my pick for opening week.
It's
Lando
funny
Norris
because
is
I know
very-
less about F1 than I do about grass ping pong.
Lando Norris is a very he's probably 3 or 4. You agree, Bill? Like probably in that range of like drivers right now, but he's so consistent. Like obviously Max is going to be Max, but like Lando's always going to be there. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, but I think the difference this year is I think McLaren's going to have the best car, and I think that will frustrate Max. I think Lando finally winning a race last year kind of got him off the hump. And I think we finally saw a little bit of aggressiveness and a kind of a nasty streak that we needed to see from Lando. I think a lot of people thought Lando was good, but he was kind of the pretty boy of F1. And, back-to-back races last year wrecked with Max. Apparently their friendship is not as close after last year. So I think it's going to be wild. I think it's going to be a wild season. I am pumped for F1. I gotta find somebody to do a show with me.
All right, well, I'm really getting tired. That shit put me to sleep. Thank you so much. I'm just kidding. Thank you guys all for tuning in to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzag. In the upper left corner, you got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own College Cottrell, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shawcross, and we are signing out.